Welcome to the show, everyone. I'm Sherry Horner, your host at healthfitnessbroadcast.com. Today's guest is Mark Llewhellin from Wales, and he is here to talk about Run Across America. But he is the founder of that program, plus the American Junior of Hope, and another one. So welcome to the show, Mark.
Welcome. How are you, Sherry? All right?
Good, good. So I want you to mention the other program that you started.
Superhero Day USA, and that is a program where colleges, universities, and schools, they sort of dress up as superheroes for the day. On the day of an actor's birthday, for example, in Wales, we had it on Christian Bale's birthday. It was a great success. Raised loads of money for the hospital, so it was cool.
All right, that's great. So was that your first event? So we're going to talk about the ones going on in America, but let's go back to Wales, to your town, and where this idea came about, and take us from the very beginning.
Which one? The Great American Junior of Hope or the Superhero Day?
We'll start with the Superhero Day.
Superhero Day, that really started because there was a lot of cuts in our hospital, and it was in the paper quite a bit. And I went into the hospital and I said to the children's ward, I said, "Do you get an abundance of money in here?" And they said, "You know, we hardly get anything here. You know, we seem to be the last people to get anything." So I said, "Would you like some money?" And most people most people say, I don't think I've ever heard anyone say no to that sort of question. So Christian Bale, obviously Batman, he was born in Haverfordwest, my hometown, 5 days after me. And I was reading a little bit about him, and you know, it's inspirational what he's done, and incredibly strong-willed man to how he transforms his body from to different parts. And so I decided to set up a superhero day on Christian's birthday in Pembrokeshire, our county. And the college and nurseries and lots of children sort of got together. They raised some money, and we ended up getting the hospital iPads and DVD players, and all sorts of stuff started flowing into it. But because it was such a success, I thought, you know, this is so simple. We can do this anywhere. And so I've now expanded it. We're expanding it into other parts of Wales, and we're having it on the birthday months of other actors, such as like Catherine Zeta-Jones, Anthony Hopkins. But then I thought, we'll just it's just the internet. You can take it out. You can take it anywhere in the world then. So then in England, we put on Daniel Radcliffe's birthday from Harry Potter, Orlando Bloom, Pirates of the Caribbean. And then we're looking at the USA now. So we're looking at, we're going to set one up in New York, Robert Downey Jr.'s birthday, obviously Iron Man. And but there's, you name the big celebrity's birthday and it'll be there eventually.
Right, eventually. That's good. And it will happen.
Yeah.
We talked about this before, and I do believe it's gonna explode into something much bigger than what you've already done, but you've already accomplished a lot. So before we start talking about the U.S., let's go back to your beginning as a runner. Now, you're a fitness trainer, and you started this program. When did you get inspired to run? Because that's the basis of it. We'll talk about it further.
Yeah. Well, I was kind of, I don't know if I was inspired to run. I felt I was forced to run almost, because I left school with no real qualifications. I didn't know what to do. So I joined the army, as a lot of my friends were doing. And obviously you've got to get to a certain fitness level to get in the army. And I was a boy soldier. I was training when I was 16. And I started doing about a mile run or jog, very slow jog. I found it horrendous. I just didn't enjoy it at all. And I couldn't imagine why anyone would enjoy it. And when I used to watch the marathon on telly, I just used to think, that's impossible to run that 26 miles. I couldn't get my head around it. And basically, I went into the army. I failed the basic fitness test, 1.5 mile. I was voted the fattest person in the troop. And
That's not a great title to have, right?
I was waking up with cramp every night in my legs, and it wasn't very pleasant, really. But it's one of those things as well where I think most of us have had it in our lives where someone sort of puts you down, and it drives you. You know, I'll show you sort of things. And I just did a talk in Cardiff in front of about 400 people, and I mentioned Anthony Hopkins, and he come from a background sort of similar, where he really didn't do very well at school or anything, and the sort of negativity sort of pushed him to be obviously a super successful.
It will
But
either
yeah,
break you or drive you.
Pardon?
It will either break you or drive you, and it drove you to.
It did, and I ended up. I said I wanted to be an army commando, and the sergeant major said that's impossible. They hold the world record for the military marathon, carrying 40 pounds over a marathon distance, and I failed the first time. I wasn't fit enough. I failed the second time. I got injured, and the third time I just kept on going, and I got in. Never give up.
And you got fit continually.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you went on, and now you're a trainer, right? And
Yep.
so okay, so let's go back to what you started with in Wales. You did the superhero days. Now, did the celebrities get involved with that, or?
I haven't. I've got all the details, but I still haven't. I haven't got in touch with them yet because we're building the site at the moment. But I find it's one of those things where if you build it, they will come anyway. And it wasn't actually necessary in our case for Christian to be in Haverfordwest for us to do something on Christian's birthday. And but the way we've done the site, superherodayUSA.com, and for us is superherodayUK.com, is we've basically put it in a way where, and it's with the greatest respect. I got a lot of respect for actors. They go through a lot of rejection and all of this sort of hard times before they become who they become. And so we're also promoting their charities online as well. And it's just everybody's a winner, and it's just such a great thing. So
before we go on to the run across America, I want to talk about some of the records that you've broke. So the 100K record on treadmill, which is 62 miles, right?
yeah, it was. I did a 143-mile run in 6 days in the Sahara Desert, and one of the legs was 50 miles. And I ran against a really great guy called Rory Coleman, who held several treadmill world records. And I was fortunate enough to come in before him in the Sahara. And I thought, you know what, I think I'll have your record. And I ended up. I don't mean that in an arrogant way, but right. It's kind of it's how you start to think. Oh, I'm going to go for it. You know. You never know what's going to happen, but you've got to be positive at the same time. So, so I did that Sahara run, and then I flew over to the States in the year 2000. I did a 1,620-mile run from Denver to San Francisco, and then I got on the treadmill in 2001, and I broke that record. I was happy, but I was, it was... It was all good. I didn't think I'd ever be able to run a marathon, never mind 100 kilometers.
So the 70-mile run in 24 hours you did on your 40th birthday?
Oh, yes. I stopped training for a long time, really. Although this was 2013, in October, I did go for one or 1.5 mile run, in
After
the
not
whole
running for how
month.
long?
Oh, I can't even remember. I hadn't been running for, I don't know, it's certainly months or maybe a few years, sort of in a big way. And I hadn't even really been ticking over. I'd been doing a little bit of weights and stuff in the gym, but I hadn't really done hardly anything. So on Christmas Eve, 2013, I wanted to just see what I could do without any training. So I just started running, and I managed to run, but it became a combination of running and walking. And I did
Can you
nine
believe that?
hours. And then I said, I foolishly announced that I was going to, on my birthday, do a 24 hours. And without, but I thought I'd be able to train for a month. But I got injured and I couldn't train. So I just
Winged it?
I rocked up to the event and sort of no training at all, apart from, well, just none. And so I started running. I don't know, I ran for about 7 or 8 hours or something like that, and then it ended up into like a walk, and then it was like some sort of hobble. It wasn't pretty. It was incredibly slow, and I think there was frogs and snails and worms and all sorts that were passing me saying, "My God, you're slow." It was incredibly slow, but in the end, I managed to do 70 miles in the 24 hours without any training. So I was just happy to do that.
Yeah, to
Yeah,
move on to your 41st birthday and survive the 40th, right?
yeah.
That wouldn't be
So
good if you just, yeah, didn't survive your 40th, that run in your 40th birthday. So let's talk about the run across America. So when did you first come to America? Because you said you like Americans,
I
right?
love
You want to keep
Americans, and
coming
I
back.
just I totally fell in love with the States and the people. I went over in the year. The first time I went to the States was 1990, either 98 or 99, and I was supporting a guy called Ray Mounsey doing a run in Death Valley. And it's a funny thing because I remember seeing him in the national papers, and I thought, my God, and you automatically, if you haven't been in the papers, you kind of elevate people, as you do when you see people in
Or
the telly.
celebrity, yeah.
So, and anyway, I ended up sending him a check for his charity, and I ended up getting in touch with him, and I asked him if I could. I said, "Have you got a support driver?" And he said, "No." And I said, "I'll do it. I'll pay for it. I'll pay my own way." And I got over there, and it was interesting because he was inspirational, but it also made me think. Do you know what? I might not be as fit as you now, but I think I can do what you do in a few years' time. And it was kind of life changing, and because you elevate people so much in the media, and then when you meet them, these successful people, you think maybe I could do that.
Hmm.
It's funny. So yeah, and I just fell in love with the people in America, and then I went over to America, and they in the year 2000, I was in all the national papers, most of the national papers in the UK for the run. It was purely a run from Denver to San Francisco, and I was committed then, but I was training so much, and I wasn't working much, and so I ended up flying over to America with $150 for 2 months.
Wow, you survived that too.
So
That's good.
I basically, I mean, we're talking about health and fitness, and it was quite ironic because I ended up in. I almost looked like a burger at the end of it. I was McDonald's got me through. McDonald's and Denny's and burger. I had no choice. There was no pasta or health food chains like as accessible. And the people in the States, the managers, they were like, "We'll sponsor you. We're going to sponsor you a Big Mac meal."
That was good for the
Yeah.
day. It helped you survive to the next day, right?
Well, that's it. And someone slated me recently. Did you use that word in America, slated or
No.
criticized?
Yeah.
Someone criticized me recently on Facebook or Twitter, and because I was eating a bar of chocolate or something, and I said I'll just be honest. I'd say about 80% of my diet is healthy, and the other 20 is a little bit naughty. And he actually got back to me and he said, "Oh, I like a bit of chocolate as well." So
So he
yeah.
could relate. Well, you've had a lot of people sponsor you. Coca-Cola sponsored one of your events.
Well, yeah, we had a Pembrokeshire 5K run in Wales here, and I basically got together all the top sports achievers in the county, and because I'm sort of promoting McDonald's here, but I went down to McDonald's, and because the marketing power of McDonald's is obviously phenomenal, and I went down and I said, look, I got all this top sports achievers involved. Can you sponsor us? And then what they're actually very good at is they're pretty good at promoting the health and fitness, even though it's like it can be seen as a massive contradiction. I mean, they're the Olympics sponsors
Mhm.
and football World Cup sponsors and stuff like that, these companies. So
So
they were keen to promote.
you weren't afraid to ask for sponsors, so that's good because it's all for charity. But with the Run Across America, so take us to how that's going to work.
Basically, I designed the event in the shape of your American flag. So it looks like a big American flag draped over the map of America, and it's pretty cool if I do say so myself. It's your flag. You're gonna say it's cool anyway, and obviously the Americans love the idea, and it was my sort of kind of taking my hat off and saying thank you as well to the people in the United States, because I wouldn't have got through the last run if it wasn't for them. So yeah, I flew over to Miami in April this year, and I started running, and basically I ended up cycling because all the Americans were saying you should cycle as well because you can bring more people in. So it can be like running, cycling, and walking. But we've got seven different charities, and it's 7 times across America over 7 years for 7 charities.
That's pretty
So
cool. So anyone can
yeah,
get involved as a participant and,
yeah.
of course, as a donator of time or money.
Yes, yes, absolutely. You know, and we're now working with Edward Norton's Crowdrise team, which is a phenomenal team. What they've set up is absolutely amazing. So you can go onto Mark Llewhellin, the Crowdrise page there, or you could just go onto my Facebook and Twitter as well and get in contact that way.
And I will have those links below so everyone can get right to you and
That's
get connected.
fantastic. And thank you. But what we also want to do really is um, we want to move towards having a relay across the United States. Um, and I was looking at it the other day, and I was thinking, I think it was something like 316 million people in America, I think. So we're hoping that we can get around about out of the 316 million, around about 21,000 people. They could do a mile each, and then they can raise money for the charity of your choice or of their choice. The other thing that we're going to be working on as well is doing virtual running events across America, because not everybody has time to run across America.
Yeah.
But it's like, say, for example, you're training for a 10-kilometer run or a marathon, or to cycle 50 miles or something like that. In your training log, you can actually put it down where none of that training is wasted. You can do 10 miles on a bike one night, for example, or 5 miles, and then you can actually see your virtual self moving across America in the shape of the American flag.
That is awesome. I think a lot of people are going to gravitate toward that because, yeah, that's pretty awesome. Because a lot of people are busy and they have to fit it in when they can fit it in. And if it's in the winter
Yeah,
months and they're a
yeah,
runner and they can't get out, then they have trouble getting to the gym. And You know, different seasons, your training schedule changes according to your work and the weather. And but that's
Yeah.
perfect because they can have access anytime. In the middle of the night, they can be running across America. So or cycling.
That's right, and it'll be up to more clever people than me to sort of sort out the website and everything with all that. But I've got a coach who's an Olympic medalist, a cyclist, Brian Steele, and he sort of came up with the idea of virtual things. Although these things have been going on anyway, and he said, "Oh, we've done something that's a virtual thing," and I said, "Well, let's do that across America." And say if you're training for a 10K run or a 20-mile bike ride, for example, in addition to um, looking at that long-term goal to achieve that, you're always achieving. You're always going across America, and then you can do your reality sort of 10K run or 50-mile bike ride. So it's
That's a
just
good
another
plan.
incentive,
Yeah,
and
that's
raise
a good
money for
plan.
your own charity. So
Any other quick tips you can give to anyone even thinking about doing if they're a beginner or if they've been doing a lot of marathons, a lot of running, cycling, triathlons? Any quick tip that you could give them to inspire them to get to your website and check it out?
um, tips for the website or tips for them as trainers?
As
Trainers.
training, as trainees, yeah.
Yeah, I would just say have a goal, focus on the goal, and just be relentless. Just don't give in. I can remember when I went onto the commando course, there was a guy same age as me that went onto the course as well, and um, he said, I believe that if you don't pass this course first time, you shouldn't be on it. And I just looked at him and I said, I don't care how many times I'm coming. I'm having that green beret. That is mine, and that's the end of it. And that's what I was thinking. He was fitter than me. He's probably a better soldier than me. But I just wouldn't give in. And in the end, I got through and he didn't. He was a great guy, but you know, if you don't stick to the plan, if you don't stick at it, you'll get knocked off course a lot of times. And that's life. There's no sort of straight path to success.
That's a good
But you just keep on persisting.
that's a good
Yeah.
tip. So just keep
Yes.
persisting, stick to the plan, and
Uh,
don't give in. Don't give in. So
Never give in.
before we go, I want to say thank you for sharing this information with us, and I hope it inspires a lot of people. But I want to ask you to share your shoe. So do you have a favorite shoe?
I have one of my favorite shoes here. It is my trainer, and it gets me a lot of miles.
Yeah.
And it's a funny thing with this trainer. It's your sneakers, I think you call them over there.
Yeah.
Um, it's it's only about £40, which is I don't know, is that $55 or something?
Oh, that's not
Because
bad.
yeah, it's or $50 or something. Because we obviously have train sneakers over here that are £100 or $160. But I found that these
What
forty
brand?
pounds, right? It's a Reebok.
Oh, nice. Well, that's why they're so inexpensive where
It's
you're at.
fantastic. It's a combination as well because
Yeah.
it's sort of it started off in the UK and
Right.
I believe the Americans own it now, so it's great. But when I did my 1,600-mile run across America, that was Nike. So they're both very good.
Yeah. I was always, well, I was always hooked on Nike, but lately this is my running shoe, Asics.
Yes,
I
Asics we
love
call
it.
it. Yes,
I've
Asics.
showed it a couple other times in other interviews, but this is it. This is I love it. I love it.
It's
Yeah, and I put
they're,
quite a
they're
few
great.
miles on this, but the next pair I buy, it will probably be the exact same Asics. But that's my shoe
That's
for
what I
today.
do. I buy the same one. You know, can't go
Right. If
wrong
it
then.
works, don't change it, right? Don't fix
Exactly.
what's not broken. So, but I want to
Exactly.
say thanks again, and everyone, if you like this interview, please share it. Share this information so to help get the information out about Run Across America. Even if you're not one that would participate, but you know someone that's a runner, cyclist, please share this video with them. And if you have a topic that you would like to share with anyone, you can contact me. I have the link below. And I want to say thanks. And until next time, thank you so much, Mark.
Thank you very much, Sherry. Have a great day.
Thanks.